How can we help your customers get a professional finish? Well, the worst thing is having framing effect. Now, framing effect is when you can see brush marks around your light switches, around your door frames, around your window frames, down to your skirting board, up to your ceilings, into your corners, and it looks very unprofessional. Now, what we can do to get rid of that is use a cutting in brush to get up to the edge, and then use a MIDI roller that we can bring up as close to the edge as possible, which means we'll have a 4-inch band of roller finish around the edges. And all we need to do then is to get the full size roller made from the same fabric as the MIDI roller, and then we're going to get that professional finish. Now, if we're going to be rolling with just a cage frame by hand, then we need to break the wall up into sections. We paint one section at a time. Now, when we do paint that section, we're actually going to paint a V and then go back and finish off that area. That makes sure we get even coverage. Now, if we are going to be using an extension pole, the important thing here is to, when you load your roller, we can't paint a V when it's on a pole. Now, we've done all our cutting and edging first, and then the idea then is with a roller, you don't start at the top, you don't start at the bottom, you start in the middle, and then you work one way, the other way, up, down, and that makes sure you're only spreading the paint from here to there and here to there, and that means that you're going to get a better finish. The more you work the paint, the more texture you're going to get. Another important thing to remember is to always keep the bend of the wire on the cage frame on the same side as you. This will make sure you get much more stable rolling and much more even coverage. Roll the other way, the roller will give, and you'll get like a stripy look on the wall, which doesn't look very good. Now, also, another important thing to remember is when you're loading the roller. Remember, when you put it in the paint tray, always make sure that when you're loading it across the paint in the grid, you only ever go forward, never go back, because if you go back, you'll find you'll get paint spillage all over the back of the tray. Now, when you're painting with a brush, there's a standard technique. It's called get it on, lay it off, and leave it alone. The more we work that paint, the more chance we get to get brush marks, or as the professionals call it, tram lines in the finish. Now, what we do is we work in sections, but we don't start at the top or the bottom of that section, we start in the middle. Remember, we want to work that paint as little as possible. We spread it over the area, and then what you would call just finishing, a professional would call laying off, so the tips of the brush, hardly deflecting it, go through the paint to give that very, very fine finish. Now, a little tip when painting doors. Don't just use a brush and make life difficult for yourselves. Do what the professionals do. Roll it on and lay it off with a brush. And what we do is we break that door up into squares and we roll a square at a time. Remember, we paint a V in that square, then go back and finish it off. And then, importantly, we use the brush, we pull it through the paint to give that perfect finish. Speed of a roller, finish of a brush.